Is it still recording or what?
Yeah, well, I'm starting a new one. Where we left off, you were talking about the regional psych center.
Yeah. So, this is what happens to those inmates. Like, if they don't take their medications and stuff, the ERT team suits up on them and they inject them with, like, I don't even know what it is. But these people are out for 2-3 days sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like, to me, that's like psychiatric abuse with the use of medication, to me, is one of the most, like, egregious crimes to humanity. Like,
yeah.
Knocking somebody out like that, not telling them what you're doing, not telling them what they're getting in their body is sick. Like,
and yeah, exactly. Like, I've seen it where they just sedate these psychiatric patients in RPC where they're not getting the help they really need. Like, here we'll give you this medication, see what it does, we'll experiment on you, is the way I look at it. Because when I went into the institution, I was only on 2 medications, and then when I left, I was on 8 different kinds of different meds on top of the 2 I was prescribed.
I hear you. At the point where I was most psychiatric, I had 7 different drugs interacting in my body for like months and months and months. Like, how did you feel? Like, how were you feeling when you were on all the medication?
Well, first of all, like me having ADHD and stuff, they doped me up on like Seroquel to 1,200 milligrams because like the way I acted to them, not putting up with them, like seeing what they were doing to me and other people, the way I came across, they're like, okay, we'll sedate this guy because he acts up. Well, we'll just make him where he where he just sleeps all day. And that's what I did. Like, I was on my meds, like 1,200 milligrams of Seroquel a day, where I slept all day. And then I missed 2 meals a day, and I was just like, so that's how guys want to play me, is where I sleep all day and don't eat? I was like, I just shook my head, because we have to come out at a Pacific time just for our meals, even still. And like, RPC is a little different setup from other penitentiary, where there's guys who will just put the lunch at your table, but there's guys, like, when you're in a pen and someone leaves their lunch, their supper, or whatever, someone's gonna just take it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, in the psych center, that wouldn't happen in the penitentiary, but in the psych center, it's because these people don't realize in their half the time what they're even doing in the psychiatric center. Like, I feel really, really bad for guys that are in the psychiatric center, because I've been in the actual pen compared to RPC. Now, SAS Pen has its problems, but the psych center is what I don't see how RPC in Saskatoon's even a psychiatric center, the way they come across to these inmates, the way they act, the staff, the doctors and stuff, because there's no way a person should put in 63 request sheets to even speak to a psychologist. And that's what happened to me. Like, I've dealt with it where I actually had my psychologist even quit on me because she said, I can't help this guy. Well, how does someone just give up on someone when they're, like, going through suicidal ideations? Like, you think they'd want to be there the way... Like, I don't really know how to come across about that one, but, like, how isn't someone not helped? Like, can't be helped is beyond me, because that's what this psychologist said to the staff. Like, no, if there's no helping him, he doesn't want to be helped. Yet I explained, these are my idolations, this is what I'm feeling at the time.
Yeah, I for years and years, I found with mental health, it's like there's so few people, and then the people who are there, they don't frickin' like get it.
Yeah,
like, they don't get it. Like, they shouldn't be there working with people because they don't understand the suffering of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, even at the halfway house, what I'm at right now,
yeah,
there's a guard what used to, like, what works here now, like a guard from RPC. He works in this halfway house. And when I told him, okay, this is what's going to be happening to me here soon, like I told him about what you were going to do for me, he was saying, good for you. It is about time you speak up and tell them what they did to you. He's like, I wish I was there tomorrow to just even sit there and do it with you, because he's like, I have staff what are on my side within that institution, because I'm from Saskatoon. I know some of the staff from the outside, and they just shake their head about what they do there.
And I think I know a lot of psychologists too, and psychiatric nurses and stuff, who are totally just so against how the government's handling mental health care. Like, yeah, I think you speaking out is actually, you're going to help other people to speak out too.
Well, I just, like, for me, it was so hard not wanting to speak out for the longest time till Greg told, like, I just went on Greg's Facebook when he went back in, and I was like, hey, I want to reach out to his family. And then, I knew about his broadcast, and then I seen your name, and I was like, all right, there's a sign. Like, I heard God in my head tell me there's a sign, reach out, do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look at what we're doing right now. It is good for me, because when I talk to my Christian friends, they're like, oh, dude, like, you did deserve some of it. And I was like, no, I didn't. That's what you guys don't realize. Like, sure, it may be worse in hell, but these guys in these institutions, wherever it may be, male and female, both sides, I don't think they deserve to be locked up in a cage like an animal that long, 23 hours and 55 minutes a day. That's what they did to me for 6 months with no phone calls, only till my lawyer. I'm like, so I couldn't talk to my family to even get money sent in. I couldn't do nothing.
It's totally like solitary and segregation is just like total pure torture. And if you have a mental health diagnosis from a psychiatrist, they should know better than to say, to allow it.
Like me, they diagnosed me with PTSD in the institution and a personality disorder where, hey, yeah, it's hard to be around other people, so that's why they sent me to the psych center, where when I got to that psych center, it only got worse, where I started self-harming. After seeing my friend commit suicide, I started self-harming, lashing out, attention-seeking, thinking it was going to help me to get what I wanted out of being in the psychiatric center, the program I needed, the people I needed to be with, the doctors, whatever I needed. The way I looked at it is, well, I'm going to self-harm to get this and get that. Well, and then I didn't realize, okay, this is only pushing me back further and further, where it's hard because now, like me, in my past, now I barely talk to my family and stuff, where the parole board, my parole officer never recommended that I shouldn't talk to my own dad, where the parole system say, okay, you can't talk to your dad because this is you and your dad's problem from the past arguing and you getting arrested at your dad's. We don't think that you're fit to even talk to your dad on the phone or write him letters. I'm like, are you kidding me? So you put me in a different city just because you don't want me around my father, and then you tell me I can't write or call my dad, yet my dad could reach out to me, like write me a letter or whatever, call my cell or text my cell, but as soon as I respond back, I'm going back to the pen. And that's what hurts me, because they take people away from their family by giving them conditions. It's just conditions. Like, I realize, okay, it's all mainly that man or women's life choices, what they made to go to prison. But me, I was guilty by association. When I went to the pen, I was just there with the person what did the crime. And I ended up getting pen time, and this guy didn't. And I was just like, I was so disgusted when my so-called friend said, yeah, he did the crime, he did it all. And I'm sitting there in the investigation room, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, you're going to the pen. Like, I kept it quiet. I never said he did it. I never said I did it. I said, I don't know, I was underneath the influence, because when we got arrested, we had a 40 in our bag, and I was like, we were under the influence. See, I didn't even drink that night. My Cokie did, but I played it off saying, I don't know what happened. I was under the influence of alcohol, and played it off. Then all of a sudden, they're like, I go to court, play it off. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're getting pen time, but no, your Cokie's getting out. Like, I watched my Cokie get out. So I just basically did 2.5 years for something I didn't do, being guilty by association, because I kept my mouth quiet. And that's what really hurt me the whole time I was in the institution, seeing what happened to me and my Cokie getting away with it. But see, I have other offenses prior leading up to my case, where I had breaches, other charges pending, where on the other hand, it was my Cokie's first time even getting arrested, and I was just like, oh, you know what disgusted me?
Yes, yeah. It sounds just like you've been through so much. Like, right now, like, you're at the Regina halfway house. You said you're, like, you know, feeling, or you're at least safe in your body there.
I am good physically, mentally, and emotionally, and spiritually. You know, I only have a week left. Or not even a week. I have 6 days till I get to go home and be with my family, where I haven't seen them in so long, where I am grateful working with Straight Up in Saskatoon. That is a wonderful program for ex-gang members and stuff. They have it in Saskatoon and PA, where they can get help, ex-gang members, people struggling with addiction. You don't even have to be ex-gang member. Or what I work for out here, Ritz's, I work for a higher program where they have a wood shop for guys coming out of prisons and doing stuff like that. Well, why don't they have these programs in the institutions for guys where ex-gang members are struggling with addiction? All I see is them having is ICPM, high intensity, moderate, and it doesn't help them. Like, I got kicked out of my program for just talking in program, where they came to me on my unit. I had the 4-bar and like a mental health, like the unit worker was the boss of the range, the one staff member, and they kicked me out. And then all of a sudden I come out of my cell where a guard's going off on me, and I physically got up in his face, and he started belittling me, swearing at me, saying, oh, you're a piece of shit, this and that, to where I assaulted him, where I even accumulated more time within the institution. And I'm like, so you guys kicked me out a program for talking. Well, aren't we supposed to talk in the program to work on what we need to better ourselves and to help better other people within this program? And they kicked me right out of the program, and I just shook my head. Disgusted, because when I talk to my lawyers, when I talk to my lawyer, Mark Brayford, Brian Pfefferly, and Green Day, they just say, look at this stuff, because they keep a log of all my, everything, because I have journaled within the institution just to tell my story, because I talked to this lady, her name is Sheila Hollins, and I'm starting to write a book about my life, so then I could publish it, where I could go, these books can go into institutions showing people how God, the Creator, can change a life. That's what I leaned on, was God, my higher power. I never thought I'd see myself as a Christian, because I used to sell drugs and be like a heavy addict. I had an $800 a day drug habit because I was selling drugs. I was doing the gang stuff. I was doing being too caught up in the biker life where, okay, this is what I want to do. But I didn't realize, okay, what is it doing to my family? It pushed my family away. I did the drugs to feel better within my heart, but I didn't realize what it was doing. Then I realized, okay, I gotta quit drugs to do better. But these guys in the institutions, they don't receive the help they need with drug counseling, AA and stuff, because now they're cutting out all the AA meetings and NA meetings because of this COVID, where I realized, well, why don't you have it in a group setting, 5 guys at a time, and have it arranged like that? Have a couple of 3-4 meetings a day, because those meetings mean something to someone. That chapel service means something to someone. Those sweat ceremonies mean something to someone, and they're not doing that. That's what the government's taken away. And now the health region has stepped up, where the government can't even come into play to get these people to do what they want. So now I see the health region taken, okay, you guys can't have chapel service, you guys can't have NAA meetings because of COVID.
Yeah, it's just to me, like you're saying, that means something. It helps people get through a simple, something, it helps people get through. It's the very least we should be doing for each other during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Thanks for, I really told Greg too, and just everybody, some of the guys on the inside and stuff, thanks for talking out. It's real important.
Well, it is hard seeing Greg go back. Just what happened to him was he went to work one day, he left his program book at home, his PO called him back, he was out in Moose Jaw working. He had to come all the way back from Moose Jaw, a 45-minute drive from Moose Jaw to Regina, and she continued to freak out on him, where I was talking to his girlfriend about it last night. Greg had his little Bluetooth in his ear. She was freaking out. Greg swore at her. And all of a sudden, Greg comes upstairs. I see my parole officer on the phone, and I seen the look on her face, because I have a good communication with my PO. And I just felt she's on the phone with the cops. I text Greg. Sure enough, Greg comes ripping downstairs. Not even probably 45 seconds to a minute later, there's 3 cops sitting outside. 3 cop cars sitting outside, 6 cops walk in the building just because Greg's past history of being like an ex-gang member and stuff. You know, like Greg put that life behind him. And where I see Greg sitting in that institution where he has a girlfriend and he has a stepdaughter with her, and I see how it breaks her little heart watching her. This is what happened to her dad, where he's back in this. Like, I was talking to Greg's girlfriend last night over FaceTime, and when I called her, I could hear Greg's little stepdaughter in the background. Is that dad? Is that dad? And as soon as Greg's girlfriend said no, it broke her little heart, where I could hear her crying and say, when's daddy coming home, you know? Like, and it hurts because I seen what they took away from me when I got arrested. They took my house. I lost my house because of it. I lost my fiance, my kid on the way, because my fiance couldn't watch me sit in that institution and suffer because she has her own mental health issues, where she came out of the institution where I was at. Like, she was in RPC where I was 3 years prior, and she's got some pretty bad trauma from being in there.
Yeah. It sounds like broken families, broken promises, broken everything over and over and over and over again.
That's basically what it is. It's just it's broken where within RPC I've watched so many suicides happen. I've watched, just last year, there was three or four suicides within the institution, and like many attempts. I've watched probably 6-7 attempts where I watched this guy, where I even hit my cell call because I seen this guy putting a belt on his door, and he jumped off his sink and admit suicide. And I was kicking on my cell door. I hit my cell call first. They didn't answer. They just hit my cell call, turned it off, like, hey, whatever, it's Arstall, you know what I mean? He's probably just going off again in his own little world or something like that. And no, you know, like, this guy hung there probably for like 20 minutes till he died, and I just stood there at my cell window. Well, what the hell do I do? So I broke my sprinkler. I broke the sprinkler in my cell, my own cell. I had to wrap up my TV, all my stuff within garbage bags, just so then they could get to this guy. I had to break a sprinkler head just so then they would come on the range, the guards at lunch lockup. Like, I don't know if he was hanging there quite that long, but like at least probably 5 minutes before I broke my sprinkler, because all the guys, I was like, guys, he's hanging himself, or other guys were hitting their cell call, and they didn't even respond, where I just said to the guys, I showed it out the range, I said, cover your doors because I'm breaking my sprinkler in my cell right now. You know,
it just seems like it's so like intense. I'm like, everybody in there must be diagnosed with PTSD. Like,
lots of guys have it, you know. And it's because of the trauma they go through.
Yeah, and more trauma on the inside. You know, like, what you're saying is so true. Like, it's like, without the services or the resources or access to help, how are you supposed to get better?
I watch it for the lifers, and especially what the lifers go through. Yeah. Because the lifers have to live with it day to day, like a day in, day out. This is when you gotta eat. This is when you gotta go shit. This is when you gotta go piss. You gotta listen to us. Where I see guys in the correctional facility where they house them in little pods, where they have to bang on the door if there isn't a cell call just to go to the bathroom, where they're like, screw it, you know, they piss out the side of the door, or they go shit right in the cell and wipe themselves with a sock. Like, me even being in a cell for 12 days, where I didn't get no shower, no nothing, where you leave me in a cell naked for 6 days on end with no running water, no blanket, no nothing. Well, we're like, that's human torture, where I'm a male and you have female guards and staff walking around looking at me naked. I'm like, are you kidding me? Then you put in your request sheets to speak to a 4-bar or SIO about it, and they don't do nothing because they're going to cover up their steps where they won't get charged. Or even the correctional investigators, you can even go talk to them. That is the biggest waste of time, even trying to talk to a correctional investigator. And these guys go right off because it destroys them in their mind mentally.
Yeah.
Like, it hits emotionally. It's going to hit them emotionally first, then they're going to lash out mentally, going off, doing things. And this is where guys get locked up in their cell all day. They get hauled off the seg, or they end up doing someone in because it's their way of acting. Now, it's the only way they know how to act, where, hey, you sit down with the person, you help them with their mental health before they hurt someone, before they smash a cell, before, you know, like anything, whatever it is. Like, I'm sick and tired of seeing it, where it just made, when I was in the institution, I'd be that person going off like that. I'd go off, I'd hurt people, I'd smash cells, I'd smash up a range in the psych center because I just got sick and tired of seeing it, being around other mentally ill people all day long and struggling with my own, let alone hearing all these other people struggling, not getting the help. It set me off, like, where I didn't know how to deal with it because they never gave me the help I needed. Where I pinpointed out, okay, I'm struggling with this. Like, I would journal it because they kept on telling me, okay, Wesley, this is what you need to do. Mr. Arstall, this is what you need to do. You tell us what it is, because you coming in here and not telling us, how do we know how to help you? So then I remembered that for the next time where I went in there, I told them, okay, this is what I need help with, number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way up to number 7, number 8, or 12. And I wouldn't receive it. They wouldn't work step by step to help me do what I needed to do, where it's like, okay, you guys aren't going to help me? All right, I'm going to get even with you. And seeing that 2 wrongs doesn't make a right, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this because I know there's going to be a response out of it.
Oh, yeah, it's like, well, I was talking to one of the guys on the inside, and they're just saying, like, desperate acts, desperate situations create the desperate acts, and and people in the public need to understand that. Like, people aren't doing this because they're bad or evil. They're doing this because it's the last straw to get help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly why I self-harmed in front of doctors, the nurses, the psychologists, because I knew it was the last straw to get help. Like, as you seen in those pictures I sent you,
yeah,
that's like, why did I need to act that way, to physically self-harm myself just to get the help I needed?
Yeah. No, it's...
And the request sheets aren't enough, you know? Like, I put in 63 requests. I talked to my lawyer last night about it, and he's like, yeah, you put in like at least 63 requests just to speak to a psychologist about it, and then you have your psychologist quit on you not even 3 weeks later. where they said they can't help you. I'm like, and that's bad when a psychologist says they can't help you. The way I seen it was like, after she quit on me, I was like, there's no help. There's no help whatsoever. And that just broke my heart and my spirit, me mentally and emotionally. It just broke me. Where I was like, if they can't help me, who can help me? You know, I'm struggling with mental health. Who's going to help me? What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen 10 minutes from now? You know what I mean? How am I going to fucking handle this situation? Where, okay, I don't get along with this person on the range. How am I going to act in like 15 minutes if that person comes up and pisses me off? Am I going to hit him with a broomstick? Am I going to do this to him? What am I going to do?
It's just like constant anxiety. It's like having your body revved up in fight mode all the time.
Oh, and it's bad, like, especially when you're on certain medications within the institution, and guys know, they'll come knocking at your door every morning just to make sure you're up in time just to get your medications, because that's the way it was. Like, guys always wanted someone's med. That's all people I ever seen in the institution. Everyone wanted something.
Something like, and like, to me, if that was me and I was there, it would be like, I wouldn't want to be there mentally. I'd want to be fucking gonzo all the time.
Well, that's how I was. That's why I was, like, always suicidal in the institutions. That's the way how I was, because the staff being around all these sick people in RPC drove me crazy, where I tried to ship out, they wouldn't ship me out. So when they did ship, when eventually they decided, okay, he's too much to handle, let's ship him back to SAS Pen. Well, I go to SAS Pen where they see what I did to my head from smashing it on a cell. They looked at me, put me in the off cells, and the very next day I'm transferred back to RPC, where I had to go through the whole process all over again, where they treated me like basically, because I was a new admission again, they had to start all over again from scratch. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You have all these files about all my diagnoses, all this and that, where you have to start all over again and cut me off my medication, where you only give me this. They only gave me Seroquel at that point just to sedate me, because they know, okay, he's sedated, he's going to be easier to handle. Well, no. You guys made it twice as hard for me to handle, because this is what you're doing to me, where in my mind, I'm just like so caught up in the play. This is what you guys are going to do to me. This is how I'm going to get even to you. And that's how I kept on reacting.
Mm-hmm. And I, like, the psychiatric, like, I've been on 7 different psychotropic drugs and changed up all, like, for basically, like, 17 years of my life. And when you take a drug away, that can fucking devastate a human being. And when you bring in a new drug that you're not used to, that can devastate you too. So having the drugs always shifting around is, like, to me, is just, like, super sick. Like, it makes you worse. Like,
that's how it was for me. I was on, like, the doctor had me on Wellbutrin, and as soon as they took it away from me, I was just like doo-doo-doo all over the place. I didn't know how to react. When they took me off my Concertas, I was like, I didn't know how to act, because in RPC, they take them away because they're a highly abused drug within the institution. Like, the Concerta gives you, like, the same high as cocaine, crystal meth, same with the Wellbutrin, where they take them away from someone who actually needs them.
Yeah.
With them. It F's with them, because the person, they make, the way I look at it is, when they prescribe you all these meds and they're in your system, you're so immune to them, you need them, because your body's going to be like, what am I going to do when I don't have them, because you get so dependent on the medication.
It's absolutely true. It's exactly what I went through, in the sense that, like, taking away some of these medications, and then the psychiatrist and the psychologist saying, oh, well, there shouldn't be side effects. But yeah, I have side effects. I like can't sleep. I have freaking insomnia for days. Like, there's not an acknowledgement of what those pills can do to you.
And that's why I think a lot of guys abuse the medications within the institutions, whatever they can get from other guys, you know?
Oh, yeah. No. There's no consistency.
They're trying to deal with their problems because they don't know how to numb the pain besides just getting high. Okay, I'll get high. I'll numb my pain. Yeah. But when the drug is gone, I'm going to be knocking on someone's door, going to find someone who has something to get high on. Doesn't matter what it is.
No.
They just know, okay, I want to get high. I want to get high. That's the way how I was out here on the streets. Like, I used to be like a bad crystal meth addict and crack addict. Like I said, I used to have an $800 a day habit before when I was selling like bricks of cocaine, crystal meth, heroin, whatever it may be at the time. And it worsened me. And why? Because the doctor wouldn't give me a medication I wanted to be on. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go do drugs. I feel shitty. Someone's pissing me off. I'm going to go get high because it was my way of dealing with it. Yeah. I've dealt with this like this thing since I've been a kid, and it all started when I was 14 years old when I got raped and my parents got divorced. Where I like committed manslaughter on the guy who raped me. Like, the guy raped me and I committed a crime where the guy didn't even deserve it, you know, and it was like, all right, you know, I had to be the one who suffered through these pains of losing my family, getting raped, like everything, where the list just went on, and it stacked my chips where I did good when I was a kid. I played hockey, I played lacrosse, I was good when I was a kid. But as soon as I hit the 14 years old where all this stuff happened to me, it corrupted my little mind, because kids are like sponges. They absorb things and it sinks into them, because the man's body doesn't even fully develop till they're 25 years old. Yeah. Where it's just like, and especially me being around my friends' kids or whatever, you know, I watch what I say around kids because they're so absorbent, and it hurts me where when I act up around them from being in the institution to where I am when I get out, and I act up in front of people, I'm embarrassed the way I come across, the way I talk loud, not realizing, okay, other people. I don't think of other people. I just think about myself, and it hurts me because I need to realize what are other people going through. So this is my way of me doing this with you is my way of reaching out to other people, saying you're not alone. Take a stand. You don't have to be that person standing there in the background, standing behind people, you know, sketching out, not feeling comfortable around the situation, where it's like, reach out. You don't know how the person's response is going to be. Where it's me now, sometimes I don't know how these people are going to respond. How am I going to respond to the situation? Yeah. What's it going to be like? How am I going to respond?
Yeah, like this, we'll get this story out as soon as we can, and you know, I'll be talking about it with, like, you know, thank you for reaching out and for people to know, like, you're not alone, and you don't have to. Everybody, I don't know. It's
definitely.
Yeah, you know, I've been watching it unfold too for many, many years, and just seeing that it's just, I'm so glad that you're reaching out, and I'm so glad that we can tell your story, and I'm so glad that we can have some healing, because even talking about it and knowing that other people hear it, it helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So how do you go upon, like, getting your stories out on, like, the web and stuff? Because that's basically what I wanted to do, is have this shared on, like, my Facebook, on my web page and stuff, so people can actually see. Kind of like what happened to Greg, what you did. That's kind of what I wanted, was you to share it with on my web page, because I seen your web page, how you share these stories, because I've watched them, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, is go around that, just so people are aware.
Sure. Like when I talk to Greg, I'm recording right now, and then I'll upload the video to my YouTube, and then once I put it on my YouTube, I'll put it on and I'll alert you. I'll send you the link, and I'll to your phone here, and then
definitely.
you'll know right away where it is, and you can share it on your
I just I'd love for you to share it on there.
Sure, we'll get. Thanks for calling, and a lot of the stuff we went through, we got probably over an hour of an interview here. And you covered so much stuff, and you talked about so much stuff, and we're going to be really looking forward to getting this out there. And then you can stay posted with us, like text me, and if you have something more to say, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to know that people care, and know that I'm not alone within what's going on, because me now, I feel better. Like, I just woke up. Like, I woke up and I seen your messages. I was like, oh, yeah, definitely. I'm ready to go right now. Because I was like, usually I'm not the morning person, but as soon as I seen the way you were, the way I seen it, I was like, I'm ready to go, because I know this is going to make my day doing this.
Yeah, and it makes our day too. Like, here, we're happy that people are standing and talking and talking truth to power, because whoever's in power shouldn't be there, and it's time for us to all say, we need a new way of doing things.
Yeah, it's a new way, like, it's just a new way of life. Like, lots of people just don't realize, just reach out.
Yeah.
But within these institutions, when you reach out, I don't even know, it's just, boom, even here at this halfway house, they don't care, the system. And it's like, it's because they have to go to someone higher, where that person's like, I don't give a F. Yeah. I just want that bank. I want my mortgage paid, my bills paid, my new car paid, whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that there's a sense of...
And they just don't care, because they're like, oh, I want my pension. This is what I want. This is... And then what are we doing? Us taxpayers are paying for their health care with these people within the institutions. Well, work for the institution, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
It drove me nuts.
Yeah, no, and you're not alone, Wes, because it's driving a lot of people nuts out here. Like, I've had more action on these, like, the last 3 weeks here than, like, I've ever seen on this show. Like, I've been trying to talk out for, like, 4 years. So, like, I just see, like, a lot more people are talking out, and I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love you to just share this on my Facebook and stuff.
Sure. Well, I'll get busy doing that. If I got to go and do my editing stuff now. I got to do my computer stuff, and now I got to get it up and that. So, but thanks for calling.
What made you want to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Well, what made you want to do it? No, we're listening still.
No, what made you want to do this?
What made me want to do this?
Yeah.
For years, like, my dad was a social worker at the open custody young offenders for like 20 years, and I watched him back in the day fight with the government every day until he basically lost his spirit, and he just, like, kind of died a bit. He's became real depressed, and it just sucked.
It broke him, man.
Yeah, it broke him, and then he, it was hard for us, but, like, as I got older and I was trying to work with helping people, with different, like, illnesses, or if they had a disability, that's basically what I did. But I see that it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and I feel like, when's enough? When do you put your foot down, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of us on the ground who are ready to put our foot down, and I'm here to facilitate that. So.
Yeah, it's my way to put my foot down for this too, because, like, I'm actually, like, going to be starting up my own program to help people with addictions and ex-gang members and stuff, where, like, my buddy just bought properties for people what are going through this, where they get out of the institutions, especially the correctional, because lots of guys don't get into, like, CPR, or these guys getting out of the pen where they don't get in the halfway, where they can get out and have a place to live.
And what I love about what you're saying, that's what kind of, like, makes me, like, that's why I do this at the end of the day. It makes me smile, because it's like, there's people who are willing to help each other, and all you have to do is reach out, and you can create, like, your own program. You can create your own community and solidarity with people that are, like, the same as you, and you can build a better world. You can build a better place. You can do it. Like, but the government, like, the way that they kind of suffocate every single creative idea or every single thing, like, they did it to themselves. So now we got to be on our own in a way to try to get it back.
Exactly. Like, I just see myself at this young age of 28, being within these institutions make me feel like I'm a 40-year-old man, 50 years old, just grouchy.
Yeah.
And it's not nice,
No.
I'm not that nice of a person, you know what I mean, when I want to be. Like, and it scares, and that's the bad part, because it scares the people what are around me, like my friends, my family, because they don't know.
No.
And it hurts me seeing my mother and my father not knowing what my response is going to be, because that is the initial one. And what hurts me dealing with my family and the outcome of what I went through. Yeah. Because I don't like my family being scared of me. No. I like them knowing, okay, I'm going to be there for you at the end of the day. This is my straw. I'm going to be there for you when I wake up, whenever you need me, where it's like they're scared to even be around me because of my outcome of being in prison, being locked up for so long, where they don't want to hear my stories. And this is the thing, I don't want people to feel sorry for me at all. I don't. I just want people to know my story, the pain and suffering I went through, to help them reach out, because I know what they went through. Not necessarily, there's people would have been through a hell of a lot more than I've probably been through. I'm young. There's guys that are older than me, women that are older than me, would have been through a lot more pain and suffering. But I really want people to start reaching out, where I'm here for them, you're there for them, whatever it is, to just help them. Yeah. Say, you are not alone in the middle of that field. You are not that cow alone in the middle of the field. You are family. Yeah. We're all brothers and sisters. Yeah. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. I feel like we're all in this together.
And the racism, that's what bothers me within the institution, seeing the racist comments towards First Nation people, white people, black people, whatever it is, East Indian people, whatever, where it's like, okay, we all bleed red. Why are we saying these racist comments?
Yeah, that's been something that's really being talked about,
That's how it is in
Saskatchewan
this.
too.
Oh, yeah, that's how it is, because I look at the population, how 90% of it is First Nation people, and other 10% all other races. Well, and that's where I'm like, that's bad. Seeing that many First Nation people within the institutions, I realize what residential schools did to them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, like you can see it. Like you can see it's just...
Oh, I could see it where before I was like, what the hell are wrong with these people when I was younger?
Yeah.
But it took me going to prison to listen to everyone's story, putting the pieces together. Residential school was let alone a prison for them.
Yeah.
That's what they're used to, depending on other people now.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate this, and I'm gonna have to put my work in now. I gotta get it put up. I gotta do all the tech stuff. But I really appreciate your call, and you call again when your mind is running and you feel like talking.
Definitely, yeah. I'd like to just call and do other one when I'm doing really good, just so people could be like, okay, this is how this guy's doing now. Good for him.
We got our eyes peeled on you, Wes. Now we're gonna keep going on this. Because
I seen Greg's, and it shocked me. Like I wonder how he found you.
I reached out about a month and a half ago. I reached out to a woman named Sherry Meyer. She runs Yeah, do you know?
I heard about her.
She runs a thing called Beyond Prison Walls. You can find it on Facebook. And
oh, yeah, I heard of her. That's how Greg...
and I phoned her. Well, I talked to her, and she said, if you want to talk to these guys, I'll help you facilitate that. And she helped me. And now this is where we are.
That's what I'm doing with Sheila Hollins. I talked to this lady who had put books out within prisons, and that's what I'm doing for my book. I want my book, like my story, to go into these prisons, because that's what I used to read. I used to read about guys what were like way worse than me, you know what I mean? Like mafia members and stuff. And I'm like, and it gives that inmate or that convict, I don't like saying that term inmate, but it gives that convict something to read, to talk about, because there is guys in there where they can't afford TVs, they can't afford stereos,
No,
and it's hard.
Books have always been to me like my freedom. It's like if I could get a book and I could read it and I could be in there with those people in that story, I would like be okay, and make it through till the next,
That's how it was, I'd sit in there at lunchtime or like lock up, and I'm like, hey, I'm free. I'm free-minded.
Yeah.
I can read my book. I can read my Bible.
Yeah. Like your mind, the human spirit is the one thing that they can never jail.
Yeah.
They can never take your human spirit from you. Yours, it sounds like yours is spirited.
Oh, I've been, you know what I mean? I did a lot of change, and a lot. Like, if you would have heard me probably like, say, 3 years ago, I'd be all over the place in this conversation, bouncing topic to topic, where I couldn't stay focused on one topic with you.
Yeah, no, we're really happy to hear from you, and we'll get this published and out, and as soon as I have the link, I'll send it to you.
Okay, definitely.
Okay, well, thanks again, and we'll talk again, and we got our eyes peeled on you, Wes, and we were interested in this literature that you're, like, cooking up. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk again.
Yeah, definitely. Bye.
Bye.